Well, I am back with round two of Weird NASCAR Rumors. I had a ton of fun putting together the first video, and people in the comments asked for more. So, if y'all keep enjoying these videos, then I'll keep making them, because there have been a lot of really weird rumors in silly season history. And all of the rumors that I'm talking about today come from just 2009, and believe me, there were a lot more that I could have talked about. So let's jump in with one of the weirdest NASCAR rumors I've ever heard. So in November of 2009, there were rumors that NASCAR was going to get a fifth manufacturer, and that manufacturer was Volkswagen? Yep, that's right. The head of Volkswagen's Motorsports program was in Homestead, Miami, and the Associated Press reported that he had a meeting planned with NASCAR. Brian France said at the time that the only requirement that NASCAR had was that a manufacturer must have a production plant in the US, and Volkswagen had a plant under construction in Tennessee at the time, so they were eligible. I remember hearing about this rumor at the time, and to this day, I still have a really hard time wrapping my head around it. NASCAR fans have been wanting a new manufacturer for a long time, especially since Dodge left in 2013, but you would think that it would be someone like Dodge jumping back in, or Honda, or maybe even Hyundai, but Volkswagen? I could see Nissan in NASCAR before Volkswagen. You've got NASCAR fans who are hardcore Chevy fans, or Ford fans, or Toyota fans, but seriously, how many NASCAR fans out there are hardcore fans of Volkswagen? I just can't imagine Volkswagen being able to develop a solid fan base in NASCAR. And I can't imagine which team would jump on board with them. I actually asked some AI programs to make me some concept images of what a Volkswagen NASCAR would look like, and it just looks strange to me. But maybe I'm just not good at writing these sorts of prompts. Anyway, let me know what you think about Volkswagen and NASCAR, and let's move on to weird rumor number 2. Next up on today's list is Kyle Busch to Formula One. A few weeks ago, Kyle Larson made some comments that he believes that he's a more talented driver than Max Verstappen, and fans of NASCAR and Formula One have been at each other's throats on the internet ever since. But while we aren't likely to ever see those two heavyweights go toe-to-toe with one another, there was a point where there was a chance that we would see Kyle Busch on the Formula One grid. In October of 2009, USA Today reported that the director of USF1 was so interested in Kyle Busch that he was getting updates on what Busch was doing on a near daily basis, and seemed to really want to put Busch on the Formula One grid in 2011. And a 24-year-old Kyle Busch seemed interested. His heart still really seemed set in NASCAR, but it seemed like he wanted the experience of competing in Formula One. He said that he thought he was young enough that he could win a championship in NASCAR by the time he was 25, go race in F1 for a few years, and be back in NASCAR by the time he was 28. Like he was casually playing a side mission in the video game that is his career. Anyway, Busch wouldn't win his first Cup title until 2015, and the entire USF1 team project fell apart before it could even start a single Grand Prix. So it's probably for the best that Busch never left Joe Gibbs to go to Europe and would instead win over 200 races across NASCAR's top 3 series, along with 2 Cup Series championships. Really, all I hope for is that one day we get to see Kyle Busch run the Indy 500. Because I think it will just be a tragedy if we never get to see him do that. Before moving on to weird rumor number 3, if you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. More than helping the channel grow, clicking subscribe really gives me some great feedback and lets me know that the content I'm making is interesting to the audience. That way I know I'm on the right track with these videos, and I'm not making content that's boring for you. I don't need any Patreon donations or anything, just some feedback would be great. Now let's move on to rumor number 3. Earnhardt-Ganassi merging with Joe Gibbs Racing. This was a rumor from like June and July of 2009, and while it may seem really ridiculous today, think about how wild things were with team mergers at that point. You had MB2 Motorsports become Ginn Racing, which got bought out by DEI, which then merged with Chip Ganassi Racing to form Earnhardt-Ganassi Racing. You also had Evernham Motorsports, which became Gillette Evernham Motorsports, which merged with Petty Enterprises to form Richard Petty Motorsports, which then absorbed Robert Yates Racing. It seemed like there was a new merger being announced on a weekly basis. Then you look at Earnhardt-Ganassi, which existed separately as DEI, a 4-car team, and Chip Ganassi Racing, a 3-car team that had to cut down to 2. And then when they merged, they formed a 3-car team that had to cut back to a 2-car team just 7 races into the season. And they were about to lose Martin Truex at the end of the year. GM had also reportedly cut a lot of support to Earnhardt-Ganassi, and Gibbs wanted a 4th car. Partnering with Joe Gibbs Racing and saving the 42 car with Juan Pablo Montoya may not have seemed like a terrible idea at the time, especially because in the midst of all of this chaos, Montoya was having the best year of his Cup Series career. Chip Ganassi denied these rumors, but honestly, seeing a Joe Gibbs lineup with Juan Pablo Montoya in it seems pretty cool to me. But either way, thinking about that rumor just got me thinking about how wild those team mergers were from 2008 to 2010 or so. Anyway, on to another rumor that I'm actually disappointed didn't come true. In September of 2009, Bobby Labonte was being linked to Richard Childress Racing in the 07 car. Labonte had spent a few years outside of race-winning equipment, and a move to RCR would have given him an opportunity to show us his talent level again. Unfortunately, about a week after this rumor surfaced, Jack Daniels announced that they would be ending their sponsorship of the 07 car, and RCR cut back from 4 cars to 3. I'm not sure signing Labonte would have been enough to convince Jack Daniels to stick around, but man, do I wish we could have seen him in that car. There was also a rumor at the same time that Labonte was on the short list to go to Earnhardt-Ganassi to replace Martin Truex in the 1 car, which would have also been interesting, but ultimately the seat went to Jamie McMurray, and I assume Chip Ganassi is pretty happy with that decision, because McMurray would go on to win the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in his first year with the team. McMurray was also apparently being looked at to replace Elliott Sadler in the 19 car, but I would guess he's pretty happy with the decision to go to the 1 car as well. And let's wrap things up with one more weird rumor from 2009. AJ Allmendinger to Joe Gibbs Racing. It was reported early in the year that Joe Gibbs was interested in starting a 4th car with AJ Allmendinger, which prompted Richard Petty Motorsports to pick up the option Allmendinger had on his contract for 2010 in mid-April, 4 months before the August 15th deadline. Honestly, I think Allmendinger to Gibbs would have been fun, and it could have had some interesting downstream effects. Does Allmendinger end up successful enough at Gibbs to keep the seat long term? If he's at Gibbs instead of Penske when he fails his drug test in 2012, does he get fired like he did at Penske? I'm kind of 50-50 on that question, but what I do think is that if Allmendinger had gotten to spend a few years at Gibbs, he probably would have won a few more races. I honestly don't know how realistic it was for Gibbs to start a 4th team at the time, because if they couldn't have Allmendinger, then there were other drivers potentially out there and available at the time, like Martin Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski, and Jamie McMurray, just to name a few. And Gibbs didn't start a 4th team with any of them, and ultimately wouldn't until 2015 when Carl Edwards was brought on. Anyway, those are 5 really weird rumors from 2009. Again, I'm getting all of these from the archives of jski.com, which is a lot of fun to read. If you would like to see this series continue, then please let me know in the comments, and share this video with your friends. I'm thinking if y'all would like me to continue this, then what I can do is go year by year and pick 4 or 5 of the weirdest rumors from each year. So let me know if you'd like to see something like that. Thank you so much for watching, please like the video, and have a great day.